All right. Let's just give this a second here. Chance for LinkedIn to get in. Trying to. Okay, I think we're good. So, hello, everybody. Lori Swanson here for my weekly live broadcast. If you don't know me, I'm the CEO of Inspire Tech, career coaching company for women in and around technology. I am also the founder of Career Alchemy Academy, which is a membership organization community of women in and around tech who are focused on career pivots, career reinventions, job searches, and connecting. Bottom line foundation, connecting with other women who are going through some stuff and really, we approach and look at careers a bit differently. And you'll probably know that if you've been here live or you know me, or if this is your first time, you're going to get a little glimpse inside of Lori Land and Inspire Tech and the things we talk about, which aren't what I would say traditional career and job search coaching topics. We do cover the basic stuff and the real things that lots of coaches cover. But I think one of the ways that I'm different is, and kind of what I bring to the table is my spirit-centered approach to life in general and certainly to our careers, but also the that our careers are a form of service. And if we think about our careers that way, it kind of lightens the load of expectation and I don't know, maybe I need to drink water. Expectation and thank you. Thank you for that. Expectation and trying to bend and fit ourselves into a square, hole when we're around peg or the opposite of that. So I go live every week and talk about what I've been writing about during the week in my newsletter, which you can go to our website and sign up for the newsletter and you'll get different things. And you can also sign up to schedule a conversation with me following this link, and we can talk about your next career move and what support you might need and if I might be the right person for that. But today, get ready. Today, what I want to talk about is how to write your next career move like an improv sketch. So last fall, I decided, kind of on a whim, to sign up for an 8-week improv course. Fast forward, now what are we? 9 months later, October, November, December. Yeah, we're moving into 9 months later. I'm now level 4 in the improv. I was not going to go past level 1, by the way. I'm now level 4 student in this improv, the series of improv classes that I can take. And I also signed up and am halfway through an 8-week improv course on film, how to film. So we're learning how to film short improv comedy sketch routines. So it's a little bit of editing, filming and editing and improv and sketch writing. And so completely different than anything really that I've ever done before. And like I said, it was on a whim. And there was a part of me that, and I'll talk a little bit about that as I go through what I'm talking about today, but there's I am always, I have like a mission, 3-part mission. One, is to trust life or the divine, whatever you want to call it, unconditionally. And that's an interesting uh, mission to explore. The second one is to spread love in all its highest forms. So there's different forms, love is, generous, and, it can be patient is a form of love. And what are all these highest forms, and how can I just on the daily spread love in all of its highest forms. And then the third one is have fun, follow the fun, make fun part of every moment of that I can, finding the fun, right? And so that is me joining up for improv was fulfilling part of the fulfilling of that piece of my life's mission of following the fun. It just felt like fun to me. And it'd been something that I had considered back when we lived in Chicago. I'd thought about joining Second City, but I was building a multi-million dollar recruiting firm at that point. I had two young kids, or one at that time, I mean, just had other competing priorities. So it just went away, and I hadn't thought about it in a long time. And then I found that there was a place that teaches improv in my hometown. And I'm like, well, no excuses, just do it. So I did. And in the improv class that I'm taking, I've learned two things really quickly. One is if I never see CapCut or iMovie, nothing against those tools, but if I never see them again, I could die happy, because um, the technical editing part of a film is not for me. It's just, I don't like all that detail stuff. Um, and so I found that out pretty quickly. I'm happy that I know how to use an editing tool. And I'm also happy if I never have to use it again. So that was one thing I learned. The second thing I learned was that I am obsessed with sketch comedy. I never really knew that. Yes, I watch SNL, but now I'm back watching like old SNL sketches, and with a different lens on, like looking at them differently, right? I am down the rabbit hole of the show Whose Line Is It Anyways? I'm out on YouTube watching all of the old ones, laughing myself. Yes, very laughing a lot watching those, and being so in such admiration for these, the cream of the crop um, improv improvers. I mean, it's amazing to watch a fabulous improver. And then I think the other thing that there's a couple other things I'm doing. I'm also Key and Peele, like Key and Peele, just looking at how they put a sketch together. And I'm like, how do they do that? How do they do that? Right. So looking at that sort of thing and watching videos on how to write sketch comedy, how do you do it? Right. So that's where you'll find me most evenings recently, is in front of watching all of those different things. Um, and so, what I've learned, I think the thing that's most interesting to me, and maybe because, I consider myself a writer now, I never would have claimed that before, but after writing a weekly blog since I think 2017, um, you got to claim it, right? And so, yes, I am a writer. I'm a blog writer, and sketch writing is not the same thing as blog writing, for sure. It's not the same as creative writing in general, even though there's very creative aspect to it. It's not I went to business school at the University of Texas, and the papers I wrote are nothing like sketch comedy scripts. That it's a whole different sort of format and style, in it's just structure, it's just different, right? And so um it's had me uh you know kind of have to adjust how I think about what I'm writing about, and how I think about um or how I write, I guess, the skill of writing. It's a different type, a different form. And so beyond that, and the good news is there's tools to help me with with that. Um, and but the second thing is that sketch comedy, and you may know this if you are a fan of Saturday Night Live, sketch comedy is written often collaboratively. So the individuals will come in with an idea, a weird moment that happened, some sort of half-baked, random thought that they had, and kind of people just lay it on the table, and then together they start to, flush out these ideas, to brainstorm and experiment and see what gets legs. Is this one going to have legs? Set some ideas aside because they think they're good, but they're just not quite like ready for air, right? And they cut what isn't working, and they're just like, it's just never went anywhere. We can't do anything with this. And so it's all about this experimentation, but then it's about exaggeration and escalation. And that blew my mind. And now when I look at sketch comedy, I can see how they're exaggerating. Like if a person has a certain, you know, uh, uh, accent, let's say, it won't be it'll be a very exaggerated form of that accent. Like very clearly, that's the accent. When they're doing a move, it's a big move. It's an exaggerated move, right? And if you're sad, you're not just, like, oh, like you're really, I'm practicing my characters right here on screen for you right now. That's also a huge pushing up against my comfort zone of being a character in a sketch, and getting and kind of letting loose and being more, uh, yeah, that I'm having fun with it, and it's scary as all get out, and it's I'm embarrassed sometimes, and I feel awkward, all those things. But so the sketches are written collaboratively, and they are experimenting with them. They're exaggerating these characters inside the sketches. They are escalating the scenes, from it starts out with someone finding, a piece of recycling on the side of the road, and the next thing you know, it's turned into a major crime scene, And so that was fascinating for me to learn. And so as it's stretching me in all these sorts of ways, scary and fun, it also reminded me of because I can't help myself. I saw the parallels to someone like you, perhaps, that might be at a career crossroads and, trying to figure out where to take your career next. And so just like people come in with these sort of half-baked ideas and random thoughts and strange little moments and observations, as you're beginning, as you're standing at the crossroads, right, not sure which direction to go, you start to lay out on the table before you take any action, before you move forward, just all of these things, these little intuitive hits you might have gotten about what's next for you, like put that on the table. Like your skills, of course, that you already have, the experiences, the gifts that you have, like lay those out on the table. Your interests, what's capturing your attention right now, put that on the table. Any ideas you might have, all of that gets laid out on the table. And then over time, you using certain tools, you're experimenting, and most importantly, you are collaborating with a community of people that are helping you your vision become more clear. Because in sketch comedy writing, this half-baked idea that I came in with might be the next if I were working for SNL, um, you know, it could be a goal of mine. The oldest SNL sketch writer ever. So if I were working for SNL, and that might be this half-baked idea might be on the show Saturday night, you know, with Justin Timberlake as the primary character. And so you just never know. And the same is true for your career. All of these half-baked ideas, these thoughts, these like what ifs, they can turn into your next career. Um, by putting them out on the table, and then through this group of people that are helping you see the value in those things and see how you might position yourself for that next step, and see how you might use some of these maybe even sort of dormant skills that you haven't used in a long time. You might bring them back to life in what's next, and someone outside of you can see that a little bit better. And that's why I think the SNL writers table is, I can bet, I don't know, oh, I'd like to be a fly on that wall. I don't know, but my guess is that an idea that comes in, by the end of it, it looks very different. They're still, that seed got them there, but if even the seed is still there, who knows? Just like in corporate America, or meetings in general, it isn't often the original idea, but it's the original idea that leads to the idea that leads to the idea that leads to the final, product but it started here. That's the thing. And that's why those are so important. So, so all of that sort of laying the stuff out on the table and bringing in all of these different, even what seems nonsensical, bringing those in, working together with another team. And then the biggest thing that I've been learning about sketch comedy is that they start with the end. So how it works is you're bringing in these ideas and, like I said, random thoughts and half-baked ideas. You're bringing those all in. And generally, why you're bringing them in, how you have them in the first place is, as you were just going through life, driving through the car wash, something funny happened. You heard something, you saw something, and it made you chuckle. Even that word makes me chuckle. It made you giggle. Is that funnier? That's another thing. So it made you chuckle and giggle. And that becomes, for a comedy sketch writer, that becomes the seed, right? That little moment. And then we don't know where we're going, but they will take that silly moment often and make that the end of the sketch, and then they build the story to it. So that's kind of like, we're going to culminate in this funny thing that I saw, but how did we get there? And then you get to write the story with the ending in mind. And I thought, because sometimes the starting point, and then we're moving from there, and that's why it gets a little cloudy, because we're just not quite sure where we're going. But in sketch comedy, you're like, that's so darn funny. Now, how do we get there? We want to end on that big, funny note. And so they work backwards and build that story, which feels like a really wonderful, different, unique approach to career reinvention, right? Is that instead of focusing on all of the relevant job titles that are out there, or even your perfectly crafted resume, or the next logical step that anyone and everyone would, if you asked them, be like, what should I do next? They're all going to look at your career path that you're on, and they're going to be like, oh, well, obviously it's this. But you're feeling like, I don't even want that. I want something completely different, right? And so we're not following the normal path in this. And it's, your practical 5-year plan is like thrown out the window. And so the what might be more fun is to pay closer attention to what makes you laugh in your day-to-day. And I'm not just talking about your career, even though we definitely want to see where's the fun in what you're already doing or where's the fun in the past. Like I was a server at a couple different restaurants, a big, large chain you would have heard of, and then another smaller chain here in Illinois. And best times ever. Just so much fun, just being with all the other servers um, and then making fun of the customers. Now, I don't know if we made fun of the customers, but the customers would do funny things. They could be some sketch writing fodder right there. There were some really interesting, funny things that happened. But that was just one of my favorite times. College in general was a lot of fun. And, just going to concert, like, what is it? What is it? Pay closer attention to what makes you laugh, what fills you with joy, what feels like fun. Follow that fun, follow that track, not the practical, not the logical, but the fun track. And let's assume that these fun moments aren't random, but let's look at them as like signposts or guiding posts towards where you're meant to be going next. They're clues to help you discover that career story that you're writing, right? Your own career script that lands on the funny, like that's going to be, that there's going to be so much joy there. Like we have the end in mind and we're moving towards it. And along the way, we're also having tons and tons of fun. So this week, let's try that. Let's assume that there's some clues out there that aren't necessarily random, but they're actually pointing you in the direction of what's next in your career. So number one thing to do is to start by finding the funny, right? So just pull out a pad of paper, get out your notes app on your phone. And when something makes you smile, makes you laugh out loud, just write that down. Like, that is how I got to improv comedy. Is I wanted to laugh more, and SNL makes me laugh, and that's sketch writing, right? And so I thought, yes, I'm gonna, and I had a change. And there it was, divinely, just in my hometown, a place for me to go and do and learn more about improv. So pay attention to the things that bring you joy, the things that make you laugh, makes you smile. Follow that fun every single day. Track it, just write it down. We don't have to do anything immediately. We're just gathering the data, right? We're gathering the data of what brings laughter into our lives. Then, because that's just the data, right? But it's also like the signposts that are pointing you to that next ideal role for you. Step two, once we've done some data gathering, is to craft a career vision with the funny at the punchline. So once you've found all the funny in your days, ask yourself, how can I bring more of this into my career? What would that look like? And I'll give you an example. So I said I would talk more about this at the beginning, and here I am. So I was wanting to bring more fun into my work. So I was just doing what I suggested here is I was just, where am I having lots of fun? What makes me laugh out loud? And one of the things is that my girlfriends and I get together once a month and play poker. And oh my God, I mean, I never laugh so hard as when I do hanging with my girlfriends playing poker. There's just always, and we've known each other a long time, which helps, but doesn't have to be. But it just makes me laugh out loud so much, right? And so I thought to myself, well, what's the thread there? How do I bring that sort of, that fun into my work? And the common thread was, playing poker. One of the things I really enjoy about it, besides laughing with my girlfriends, is I like games. Just in general, I like card games. I like board games. I like watching sporting events. I like playing, playing pickleball. I like games. And so I thought, what if I created a game for the people on my Inspirations, which is the name of my career blogs. Sign up on the website. On the bottom page of the homepage on the right, it says, get inspirations in your inbox. Sign up. And you too can get this year's holiday game. So we've done, it's been several years now where we've created, I created it and then my team designed a game that we send out and people can, and it's generally somehow tech related. You know, we put a tech spin on it and people can print it off and play it if they want. But more importantly, it's so much fun for me to be thinking about what it could be and then creating how it will be and then working with my team like how are we going to design it? What are your design ideas? Ooh, I really like that one. Let's change these colors. I mean, all of that creation of that is super fun. And I can tell you, I already know the game unless it changes, but it's just June, what, 3rd? And I've already, because my brain hasn't stopped thinking about what will next year's game be, I'm already thinking about that and have already come up with an idea that I think is pretty darn good. That is different than ones we've done before, which I keep thinking I'm going to run out of them. Like I can't possibly come up with another game. And then I did. And that's so fun. So join Inspiration. So in December, when we send it out, you will have the holiday game. But you can see the parallel I'm trying to draw is what was fun in my real life. How could I bring that into my work as well? And so that's step number 2 is, you know, now you have the data of where funny lives in your life. How can you bring that more of that into your work? Take those funny moments and start to tap into your imagination, right? About how it could become part of your career. Because it isn't necessarily going to feel logical at first, but you can find something for it. It isn't left brain logical. You are tapping into your right brain comedian, and that is like your inner Tina Fey, right? That's what we're tapping into there. So that's step 2. So gather the data, then craft a vision that includes some fun things. You know, like it could be just a certain segment of your job, something. And then finally, build the tools and community of support that you need. So for script writing, I use something called Celtics, CELTX. And I also have another one, but I used Celtics recently to write my very first sketch comedy script that's going to be turned into a very short movie that someone else is going to edit because I don't want to edit. But that's happening, right? And so that tool helped me follow the right structure and know what the font's supposed to be and how big the point size of the font is supposed to be, like the print, like stuff I didn't know. It's again got its own thing. So what tools do you need to help you move forward? It could be that there's a course you need to take um, that's going to create more fun. Maybe it's improv class, who knows? But also, we're not just talking about tools to help support where you want to go, or classes or trainings, or connections, right? But I guess the other thing is we're talking about connections. We're talking about this community of support. So of course, I'm a big fan of Career Alchemy Academy, but it doesn't matter. Like, who can you pull in to become part of your writing team, your career team, right? Your spiritual board of advisors, as well as your physical board of advisors, physical world board of advisors, like calling them in, gathering them up and saying, look, we're creating a career vision that's going to create a career that includes lots of the things that I'm good at, me doing mainly the things I'm really good at and enjoy, and have me filled with, fun most days, right? Most days. Um, and so uh, careers like sketches rarely come together in the first draft. So this takes some time, but putting laughter and finding the funny as kind of the exclamation point of the lighthouse of where we're going, that will keep us going because we're going to be finding it all along the way. And then it'll become more and more clear about how this will work into where you're going next. Um, Grab those tools and build that support community to be part of this journey with you. And then there is a warning. I will warn that your stomach may ache from all the belly laughs. And I'm okay with that. I think we all should be. I'm okay with that. Make my belly ache. So that's it for today. And I hope that, um, you know, you just spend 1 minute after I end this call and think to yourself, just ask yourself, what are the top 5 things that I've done in my life that I have felt the most joy, that feel like the most fun to me? What were those times? Who was I with? What was I doing? Make that part of that vision that you're building, keeping the funny as the end of where you're going, but also filling it in all along the way. And then reach out, let's talk, want to hear from you, and create with you, be part of that, of your sketch writing table, where we are sketching out a career filled with fun and joy and connection and impact. Heck yeah, why not? So that's what I'm doing. Come join me. Be part of my team. Talk to you soon.